Isn't there like an easier way to like clean my polishing pads? What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Griots Garage, where we make detailing simple. My name is Sock, and today I have something special for you all. So pretty much, yeah, this part of the video is going to show you on how to easily clean your polishing pads, save money on polishing pads, and also the best thing of all is you can use one pad to polish your entire vehicle if you like. And of course, the tool that I enjoy using the most, which I've spoke about many times in my detailing channel, is the Lake Country System 4000 pad washer. And I will speak and revisit the pros and cons. And now I've already have 2 consecutive years of actually using the polishing pad. And yes, if I'm sweating, it's because I'm in South Carolina. I got my mini split back there. It is hot in my garage. They're gonna install this on Monday, but I'm here ready to make content for you all. And this polishing pad I used last month. I wasn't able to clean it. I really didn't have too much time. I took care of a section of my cousin's vehicle. Titan Tim lent me his 21mm DA, and then I did a finishing step with the rotary, just with this gold standard waffle pad. Wasn't nothing major. And I will talk to you about right here, the System 4000 pad washer. I ordered myself a new one, and it comes with some Snappy Clean. Now, in terms of Snappy Clean, I don't like to use this inside my clean solution or mix it up in general to clean my polishing pads. The only reason for that is because I've noticed if you put too much Snappy Clean mixed with water, what's gonna happen is on wool pads specifically, they become on this weird gunky type of like sticky feeling. I don't like it, so I just use strictly rinseless wash. Before we talk about the pros and cons, I'm gonna show you what comes inside your pad washer and how it ultimately works. It comes in this 5-gallon bucket, as you see right here, from Lake Country themselves. And it comes in 3 parts. So these 3 parts is, one is just your 5-gallon bucket, just empty, nothing in here. This is where your clean solution is going to go, and I will show you how to set it up. Second thing that comes in is pretty much like a dual bucket. So this is like your collection bucket, as you see here. So this is the O-ring, and then here's the straw that will pump up the water, the clean solution from your black bucket, and it's going to press it and bring it up to the top. So you always have clean solution, and all the dirty solution goes into this secondary collection bucket. And as you see here, that's it. All you got to do is just make sure you just center it, go straight through, and that's it. You're all set and ready to go. It's not a complex type of design. Second thing as well is these are the drainage holes that comes in. So after you've done pumping and cleaning the pad, what's going to happen is all that dirty water solution is going to drain down through these holes into your collection pad, into your collection bucket, sorry. And yeah, that is pretty much how it works. Now, in terms of filling it up, you got these latches in here, so you want to line them up. I'm going to put this right over here to the side. And for me personally, this is just a personal preference, especially now that I'm here in South Carolina. I don't have the same amount of clientele that I had back there in New York. So what I'm going to end up using is strictly distilled water inside my clean solution, because after a while, I don't know how many cars I'm going to polish or how many, I just got to weigh things for myself. And if you really want your mixture to last as long as possible, use distilled water. So here I have a gallon of distilled water. And like I said, in terms of the cleaning solution, it will be my rinseless wash. So just gonna, key thing too as well, the max you want to really fill this up to is possibly like a quarter of the way here. So pretty much the same depth that this is going to be. That makes sense. So it's going to sit like right there. So the max you want to fill it up is probably like halfway, maybe 2 gallons of water. You don't want to fill too much, because then when you try to push your secondary bucket in, what's going to happen is just going to float, and it's not going to lock into place on the side of the bucket. So I'm just gonna use 1 gallon just for now. And I filled up just a little bit. And what I'm going to end up doing now is apply my rinseless wash solution. I'm gonna end up using Iconic. You guys could all get this at the House of Rags. You could use Nemesis, Garage Therapy, DIY Detail, Rinseless Wash, McKee's. Just use a clean surfactant, no protection whatsoever. You don't want to use something like, for this instance, you don't really want to use, say, Pandy Organizer's Rinseless Wash because it does have some stout protection. And when I'm cleaning stuff, I just want to have a clean solution with no protection. So here I'm just gonna put, typically is 1/2 ounce per gallon, but since I'm just cleaning and it's not really in terms of slickness and getting dirt, grit, and grime out, I just love adding an extra bit of rinseless into my waters. I end up pouring the rest of my gallon in here, so that acted as if I'm mixing up the solution. And from here on in, we are going to place the secondary bucket right in place with the pump. And that is practically it. This is what you have. Everything is all set and ready to go. I do have this Carolina cart from McKee's 37. And one thing to note is when you're using the pad washer, don't go lightly. If you go lightly, you're not gonna get a lot of water. You want to flush and clean your pad. So you have to, with some force, press down on it and it will come up, and that is what you're gonna get. So you want that force to go into your pad, and then as well, afterwards, you have these little ridges inside the bucket itself to actually agitate and clean your pads. And I will demonstrate that to you right now. All right, everyone, I brought you in closer so you can actually see how the pad washer cleans your polishing pads. And here I am using the rotary for a demonstration. And as you can see, there is polish residue all over the pad. And first things first is you want to pump, right? You want to use pressure. You don't want to go slow. You want to use pressure and flush solution into the pad. So once that's set, lift it up, and as you can see, it is dripping. The pad is dripping wet. So I always use speed setting 1. If you use speed setting 2 or anything higher, what's going to happen is you're just going to splash a bunch of water everywhere. And yeah, so just use speed setting 1 and just agitate along these ridges while the pad is running. And as you saw there, I had it on speed 1, but the problem is that I put way too much solution in there, and it's going to happen. You see that splash? That is one of the cons that I will talk about, how to modify this and where you could get that modification from. So once you agitate on the ridges and you apply just a little bit of pressure, you don't have to apply too much pressure, just enough, like probably the weight of your hand, or nothing too crazy. You're just gonna lift it up, go to your max setting, speed setting 6 on whichever polisher you're using, DA or rotary, and you're just gonna let it run for about like 5 seconds or so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, as you saw, I barely lifted it up from the actual pad washer, and you saw a mist of water coming out. And although, as you can see, this pad was used up, it is now perfectly clean and free of polish residue. So you saw how quick and easy it is to actually clean your polishing pad. Now, one thing to note is it leaves your pad nice, clean, and damp. It isn't wet. Look, I'm squeezing this and no water is coming out. It is a perfectly clean pad. Now, another thing to also note is that, yes, you see that it looks like it's dirty. No, this is staining. This is polishing staining. And what this means is some companies use some heavy dyes that end up staining your polishing pads over time. For example, Rupes Uno Protect, a Poor Boy's Black Hole, or even 3D Speed. So that's just some that's on the top of my head, but that doesn't mean that the pad is dirty. This is perfectly fine to use and ready to use on your other polishing section or part of the vehicle. Now let's get to the nitty-gritty and talk about the pros and cons. Using it, I think I've dialed it down to a pretty niche, 3 pros that I could think of. And first pro is that you don't have to constantly rip your polishing pad off of your backing plate, off your hook and loop, because over time your hook and loop will deteriorate. And then also, you're just using one pad to clean the entire vehicle or polish the entire vehicle, which is a awesome pro. That's it. There's nothing much to it. You do one section, clean your pad, go on to the next section, and all you're spending is probably like 5 to 10 seconds to clean your pad per section. Now, pro number 2 is, this goes for both enthusiasts and professionals alike, is we both know that once we end up polishing a vehicle, say you're doing a one-step, you're gonna use 8 polishing pads and you're gonna sit there under the sink cleaning your polishing pads for about an hour. And then you're just gonna leave it soaking, and some people throw it inside the dryer, and once they throw it inside the dryer, they leave it on high heat, and it will mess up with the adhesive glue on the back of your polishing pad, and it will probably warp your pad bending it this way. It is not a good thing for your polishing pads whatsoever. So that is pretty much pro number 2 with this, is you don't have to clean an excessive amount of pads after you're doing a detail. Now, pro number 3 for both, again, enthusiasts and professionals alike, is this. You are saving money in the long run, and you get to play with more polishing pads in the long run. And what do I mean about that? So first off, with pro number 1 that I stated before, is you're just using one pad to polish the entire vehicle. So that means that if you're using one pad to polish the vehicle, or one cutting pad to do the cutting step and a polishing pad, and say one pad for finishing, say this one, Baby Blue from Detail Co. Say you're doing a 3-step correction. All you used was just 3 pads to do your entire vehicle. You don't need nothing more, nothing less to do your vehicle, unless you're doing a 1-step and just stick with one pad. And you're probably saying, yeah, but how am I saving money in the long run when this thing costs $150? Yes, I did get this at Detailed Image. I don't have an affiliate link with them. And during Memorial Day sale, I ended up getting it for about $135 shipped. That's after taxes and everything. $135 to me shipped. Now, why do I say you save money in the long run? Well, let's just get a medium price, but say pretty much each polishing pad costs between $9 to say $16, depending on which company you go for. But let's go with the lowest price possible. Let's say $10 a pad, because they're typically like $9.99 to $16. So say you're paying $10 per pad, and say you're doing it 1-step. You're gonna probably use 8 to 10 pads depending on the size of the vehicle, and you've already spent $100 if you use 10 pads. $100 if you use 10 pads. Now say you're doing a 2-step, and you're using 10 cutting pads, or 10 say wool pads or microfiber pads, then 10 of these for your 2nd step. That's already $200 you've used. That is a huge amount of money to spend just on polishing pads themselves. And knowing us detailers and enthusiasts, we like to try other people's polishing pads. Probably over time you get bored of this one, it doesn't work that well. You don't have to buy another 10. What you can do is, say you want to try the Detail Co. one, or Pan's cutting pad, or zzvizzer. You can just buy one pad, test it out, and see if it works for you. You don't have to buy 10 more and just get stuck with it. So this is why I say in the long run, the pad washer saves money over time. And that is pretty much the 3 pros. Now, what is my major con for this? Well, pretty much my only real major con is you saw how it splashed water on me when I was cleaning the pad. And that is one major con. And there is one modification, and this is coming from Griots Garage and from our buddy Jeff, and he made a 3D print splash guard. And what that splash guard is going to do is goes through the same holes that is in here with this trash splash guard. This this unit isn't perfect. If it was perfect, it will just need the splash guard and that's it. So pretty much Jeff from Improved Garage has a splash guard that goes around here, fits the exact holes on top of this bucket here, and you have a splash guard. And now when you clean your polishing pads, it'll prevent the splashing coming from up top, or even if you saw when I lifted up just a little bit, you saw a mist of water and stuff getting into the air. So that is pretty much my only real major con. Now, the second con is probably price point. I know people's like, it's just a bucket and just a pump and that's it. But overall, the design is pretty awesome. I really enjoy using the pad washer, and I'm pretty sure you saw it all over the overhead throughout this video of me talking about the polishing pad, and I've been using it for many, many years. And yeah, that is pretty much it. This is why I say you should go and get a pad washer, whether you are an enthusiast or a professional. And if you're a professional, for sure, you are saving money and time with using a pad washer. And if you're an enthusiast, you're saving money because you don't polish your car every day. And after 2 years, you want to try another company's polishing pad or new technology on polishing pads. And instead of spending 200 bucks, you could just spend 100 bucks or 130 bucks right now off rip, have it on the side, and then all you have to do is just over time just spend say $20, $30 on one pad, one cutting pad, one polishing pad, and you have free range to play around or purchase a bunch of polishing pads of your choice. But yeah, if you like this type of content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and other than that, I will see you all on the next one. Peace.